everyone. Want to come on real quick. I didn't want to come on right now. I was going to hopefully wait a little bit. But I guess the spirits that be want me to come on now. So we're going to flow with it. How you guys doing today? Want to come on with just a perspective for y'all. Sitting here thinking. And we're just going to have a chat right now. We're going to have a biblical chat, okay? I had some curry chicken today, and I eat with my chicken with my fingers because I don't like every part of the chicken. And it dyed my nails. All right, so I want to come on, y'all, with a perspective because, you know, today I have been thinking about this perspective as the day progressed. It just got stronger and stronger. So I don't know what I want to go, how I want to approach it. I wanted to speak to Shem and Eber. I really want to shed some light on Shem and Eber and who they are because they are extremely relevant. But I don't know if I want to go into that right now. I'd rather wait and kind of bridge that in with the full body of actually what that entails, the whole priesthood, both the Levitical priesthood and the Melchizedek priesthood, the house of Zadok. All of these people come out of the Melchizedek priesthood. And of course, the house of Zadok is the house that really was over the Davidic and the Solomonic dynasties. Their whole kingdoms were, Zadok was the priest in charge of both David and Solomon's kingdom. So he was the priest that was in charge of that. And of course, that matters because everything was of spirit. Like, people didn't make decisions back then as they do now. You made a decision based upon if God allowed you to do it, if it was the righteous thing to do or not, if it was in alignment with the direction God wanted to go into. You sought counsel from the priesthood first. Absolutely. Whereas now many of us are so far away from that we don't even know the significance of it. You know, the priesthood has been turned into a religion kind of religious context, whereas before it was very deeply, intrinsically spiritual. And a lot of people don't know the difference between what is religion and what is spiritual. You know, within spirituality, you have things that you do each time you approach God. One would consider them a ritual. A ritual is anything that you do consistently in your approach to whatever, whether you get up in the morning and you go wash your face and brush your teeth. That's a ritual. Before you go to bed at night, you take a shower. That's a ritual. It's the same way with spirituality. Whenever you approach God, whenever you look to communicate with God, you do certain things to prep the mind, prep the environment, and to conjure the spirit of God in that place. Those all would be considered rituals. So, this is why the priesthood was so important. And this is why everybody just couldn't become a priest. Because in order to really approach God, you had to be in alignment with God. God doesn't speak to everybody. And I know many of us want to believe that God does. There are many gods, like I said, and there probably are gods speaking to individuals. But what God is that? Excuse me. This is why I say it's very important that you beware of who you allow to pray for you. You don't want to give anyone the power to pray for you, because once you say, please pray for me, you've opened the door. You've given them the authority to do that. And whether it's good or bad, prayer could be an uplifting thing or prayer could be a curse. A curse is a prayer. It's just that the end result is a negative. It's a curse. A blessing first starts with a prayer. It's just that the end result is that it worked to your benefit or to your greater good. So you must be aware of these things, and you must be aware that there are many gods. There is not just one God. There's a whole pantheon of gods. This is what I'm trying to lead you all to, as to how all of these things came about with the fall. The fall is the reason for all of these things. There is one supreme God. There is one creator. But this creator, this supreme God, delegates. You can look at it in a scientific way. You got positives and you got negatives. And they're both necessary. And there is a hierarchy and an order in which all of these different forces work. This is order. Without order, nothing could exist. It would be chaos, and chaos, I mean, even chaos, there's order. Even within chaos, there's order. There's organized chaos. There must be, in the beginning of anything, a battle of wills. Who deserves it? When you first were conceived, it wasn't a slam dunk. It wasn't as if, okay, you're chosen. You're going to be born. It wasn't like that. You shot out of your father with the billions of others. And it was chaotic. And you did what you were programmed to do without you even knowing you were programmed. You shot out and you swam with a lot of energy. You're programmed to do that and made the best cell win. And that's actually how it worked. It was chaotic. There's always chaos before there's order. Always. So if your life is chaotic right now and you're going through some things that don't make sense, and it seems like it's just never ending and it just gets more chaotic and more chaotic, get used to it. Become okay with it. And stay focused. Stay in alignment. Let your faith be a testament in your life. Make it real. How do you make it real? You make it real by actually leaning in on it. It come like a test. It should be exciting. I mean, look, I'm here to tell you, I've been through some things. One day I'm going to sit down and do a video on it. I've been through some things back to back to back over the last 3 or 4 years. Probably longer than that. I'm telling you, if I really sat down and thought about it. But a lot of times we're so in the moment, you don't have time to sit down and reflect. I haven't really had the luxury of reflecting because I'm on the field. I'm out here trying to get after it and keep my faith and stand in alignment and do as I feel that God is directing me to do. To be conscientious of where I am now in my life. What all that means. How does that relate to my calling? Why I was born here? What am I here to do? All of that matters more now than it ever has in my life. And when you get to that place, friend, a lot of times it's chaotic. It is highly chaotic. You got all these different forces coming for you at one time. And you're just like Neo. And you're just deflecting. But walking forward still at the same time. So chaos is necessary. I was speaking to the house of Zadok and the priesthood. And the Levitical priesthood, these are all broken down in a hierarchy as well. Everything is a hierarchy. Nothing is just flat and it's just, okay, that's it. No, there's a building block. There's steps to this. Steps to it. So, you know, because I was thinking today when I was thinking actually about Moses, Miriam, and Aaron. And I was thinking about how God will use people that never even planned on being used. I'm serious. If you look at the Bible, if you look through anyone that was a substantial presence to the children in the Bible, none of them, outside of Samuel, none of them really were prepared for the role that they stepped into. Not one of them. David, Moses, Joshua, even Aaron, Miriam, even her. Well, Solomon was prepped because of David. But, I mean, you can go on and on and on. I'm just going to stop there because that's where we are within the book. But, I mean, none of them really sought it. Not in the Old Testament. None of them really sought it. Not the initial fathers, Abraham, Noah. None of them really sought it. They were just pondering their paths. They're just out here living life, Gideon, doing the best they can with what they got. And then God or an angel comes upon them and says, this is what you need to do. God wants you to do this. And out of the love and respect for God, out of the integrity of their heart, out of the fact that they know how important it is, out of the fact that they revere God so deeply and so much, they changed their trajectory, their own personal trajectory on what they wanted for their own lives. And they began to walk in this light or this shadow, whatever you want to call it, because sometimes it feels like a shadow. Sometimes walking with God feels like you're walking down a dark hallway and you don't know where you're going. If you're blessed like Jacob to have, and Moses, to have people to come before you and show you the way, people, you know, to help you and to save you time, people like Jacob, people like Moses, people like Solomon, all of these people acted as mentors. They acted as someone that all of these people had mentors that were able to guide them and help them and, you know, first person perspectives to bump ideas off of. They didn't have to learn it out the mud. But then there were some that did have to get it out the mud, friend. Because what more powerful testimony do you have than to get it out of the mud? To look back and say, did nobody come through and give me any kind of inclination on what to do? I had to figure it out for myself, and I'm proud of myself for that. God is proud of that in you as well. The fact that you keep searching and you keep seeking, in spite of all of the adversity, in spite of all of the confusion, you still don't give up. It all works to the glory of those that love him. So when you see Moses and you see him and he was living in the lap of luxury in Pharaoh's house, but yet he still has a cultural identity. He still knows who he is as a man, as a Hebrew. And he is proud of this. And he ends up harming and killing a man for harming one of his brethren. And he has to run. But before he even decides he has to run, he finds out, he thinks, okay, well, it's going to be all good. Nobody knew except my brethren that I was protecting. Yet that next day, he finds out that his brethren go and tell everybody in the community and betray him. And he's helped them. And they betray him. And now he's in a state where he got to go quickly. And he's on the run. And he runs and he hides and he goes to a well and he meets a woman. And a woman ends up being the daughter of a priest, a mighty priest, Jethro. I don't want to get all into that. But these are scenarios that happen, and many of us can look at our lives and see the hand of God in our lives. We can see order in the midst of chaos. Anytime you're going through chaos, friend, any kind of severe chaos, please know that it is the birthing point. It is the start of something new. If there is no chaos, there is no newness. Because chaos comes to break stuff up. Chaos comes like those affirmations that we sent forward, those words of innocence. They break up all of the molecules. They break up all of the debris so that you can move things around, so new things can be repositioned in places where old things were. Moses steps into a promise, didn't even know it. He didn't even see the order of it. He just moved on faith. Actualized faith. Faith made real by activity. Had he not moved, the promise could have never been revealed to him. It would have been aborted. But because he moved, Moses was able to convince those hard-headed children to get up and leave their comfort zone. And anyone that knows these children from what we've read in the books, or what you see of these children are a bunch of rebels. They're rebellious. They are hard to lead. They are like goats. They are hard-headed. You can't lead them, they lead you. And if you lead them, you must be of them, because they don't respect nothing other than that. I'm not saying that they don't respect goodness and kindness, they do. But you got to be of them to lead them, because they don't fall for the okie doke like that. Moses was of them, he could lead them. And he came back after spending 40 years with Jethro. And he corralled his closest allies. Who did he corral? He got his brother Aaron, and he got his sister Miriam. Those were the two closest he had. I'm going somewhere with this. He corralled them. That is his assembly. Those are his closest of staff, chief of staff, I guess you can call it that. And they began this journey through much tribulation, through much trouble, to get to a point, and they see all of these miracles that God has done for them children by way of Moses. So they know the hand of God is over Moses. They know it without a shadow of a doubt. Aaron wasn't even supposed to be involved. Moses included him because Moses was unsure of himself and his vernacular expression. So he wanted to have Aaron be the front man, because Moses is afraid of these children like everybody else is. He already knows how these people are. We already know. Miriam is there because Moses loves her, because she was so loyal to him before he knew himself. She made sure he landed safely in Pharaoh's house. He's indebted to her. He's a loyal man. He didn't have to bring her. But out of loyalty, he did. Out of love, he did. Only to get to a place where they both betray him. They both sit up amongst one another and they talk about him amongst one another, because I don't even know why. Jealousy, envy, resentment. Why wasn't it me? Kind of thing. And what does God do? God calls them both forward and said, what makes you think it's okay for you to speak to my anointed this way? You see how I communicate with Moses. You know he is my anointed. And basically what God says to them is this. You disrespecting Moses, and you speaking of him in this way, and you allowing the children that you all are shepherding to speak to him this way, because that's exactly what was happening. Everybody is gossiping. And Moses' chief of staff is no different. And God says to them, the fact that you've allowed this to happen shows that you don't respect me. Friend, whatever you're going through, God is going to show up and show out upon you. All you got to do is keep going. God do not miss anything. We have traveled from Genesis all the way to Chronicles. And I want somebody to tell me, where has God missed a beat? God does not miss nothing. Ever. So all of the stuff that's going on, anything that you may feel is being unfair, any betrayal amongst people that you have blessed, have been kind to, actually physically blessed, and given things to in abundance without them even having to ask you, because they were on the forefront of your heart, on your mind, in your spirit. People that when you were in their situations and they were in yours with the ability to bless you and never even thought to do it, actually like to see you in that situation. Yet when it was your turn, you reached back and you abundantly blessed them without even having to ask you. Without them even ever having to ask you or to complain to you about their own worldly problems. These same people will turn around and betray you. You will see it, and God sees it. And I'm here to tell you, friend, don't stress yourself over that. Know that just like Aaron and Miriam that betrayed their brother Moses, who loved them and had blessed them, Moses blessed them so much that they went down into history. They're written in the pages of history on account of Moses. And because of that, Aaron was moved out of the way, and so was Miriam. That was on my spirit today, just to let you know that even David, what made David so different was because David studied the law. David, it does not speak to any particular person counseling David, but because David had Zadok the priest, which is of the house of Melchizedek. The house of Melchizedek is the priestly body. This is a mighty house. You give me chills. I can go on this all day. House of Melchizedek is a mighty house. These are pillars. It's a stronghold. When you look at Shem and Eber, you're looking at the house of Melchizedek. This is the priesthood. This is not religion. I'm not talking religion. I'm talking spirituality, and I'm talking deep spirituality, but on a very, 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 very surface level kind of context. David got his discretion, his understanding, all of his knowledge from Zadok. So when David was able to come upon Saul, God put Saul right in the middle of David's hand. Right in the middle. It would have been like taking candy from a baby for David to come upon Saul and slay him. And it wouldn't have made David look bad amongst the people. The people would have praised him just as much as they praise him now or then. But because he knew the law, he knew the nature of God, he knows the rules. It's not about any one person. Nobody is bigger than the program. David said, I can't touch God's anointed. Because me touching God's anointed sabotages everything. I sabotage my own self. And I need to show these people as a leader. This is where a leader comes in at, friend. Any of you leaders leading sales teams or leading people in religious environments or within any realm where you are leading people, you have to stand on the moral factor. You have to stand on the integrity of God. David used that situation as a learning curve, as a point to be able to pour into his team and say, look, we are in a place of power. Surely we can come upon him and slay him. Surely all of you know all the heck I went through because of this man. There's rumors all over the country about this. But I want you to remember this, and I want you to go back and tell your families. We're not going to kill him because he's God's anointed. We're not going to lay one hand on him because it is in the Torah. It is written in the law that we don't touch God's anointed. We show mercy. We let God deal with that. That was a leader role, friend. But see, you'll never know how powerful and how much of a flex that was unless you've been in a situation like that. I'm not talking about being in a situation where you can slay somebody or whatever, but you've been in a situation where you can let your ego be vindicated or vindicate you just for a moment. That's all it's going to last, is a moment. And then after that moment, forever you deal with the results of that. 5 minutes of pleasure. That's what made David great. David was great because David saw the bigger picture. David knew he wasn't bigger than the program. And David knew from whence he got his power. David never once thought it was just him. David know that, look, I'm nothing but some animated bones. I'm out here doing God's work. And I will allow God's work to be the passion of my life. Period. So in the midst of severe chaos, he knew that he's on the brink of something new. And if he could stay in alignment, if he could stay close, he could stay in his council of the priesthood to show him the way, he will walk into his newness with integrity and in power. Many of you are on the brink of something new. And all heck is breaking loose. You got people betraying you that you love, that you thought would never betray you. You probably feel like, dang, I'm out here swimming by myself. All of that. You're on the brink of something new. And you know what, friend? A lot of times when you're on the brink of something new, everybody can't go. Friend, a lot of times when you're on the brink of something new, God will show you exactly who is around you. Not for what you want to see them as. Because a lot of times we have people around us, if you're a doer, you have people around you because you're constantly doing and you're constantly reaching a certain result in your life. And even your bad days are still good days because you constantly making it happen. But then there's some times in your life where God will send you through hills and valleys, and you can still be making it happen. But he'll open up certain situations to come upon you that are not consistent with what you've been doing. And so the people around you, or he will have the people around you also begin to go through things, highs and lows, that you've become accustomed to. You've been accustomed to it because you've been dealing with them your whole life. But there'll be people around you that you thought were just as solid as you, not knowing that they haven't been dealing on the same level as you, with the same intensity, with the same amount of chaos. It's new to them. And they're not as solid as they look like. They're not exhibiting that same kind of behavior. Now they got this crabs in a barrel mentality. Now it's gossip. It's negativity. It's low-level hate. You're like, well, what is the problem? These are the things you keep living, I'm telling you. These are the things, friend. Everybody can't go, friend. Everybody can't go. Just like Moses, Miriam, and Aaron. The people that Moses had in his life were people that were ordained to be in his life by God. He didn't choose those people. Those were people that were put in his life by God. And because they were put in his life by God, he honored the relationship. But they betrayed him. After he was so good to them. He was better to them than they was ever better to him. Than they were to him. But they didn't honor the relationship the same way. Everybody don't respond to situations the same way. And that's okay. But is your integrity there? That's what matters. And if the integrity ain't there, I mean, you got to deal with, yeah, I'm going to need 50 feet. I'm going to need a long arm. That's where we're at in 2024. That's where I am. It's all love, but it is what it is. Just wanted to come on today with that. That was a perspective that I had today. I know I was a little long-winded. I'm 30 minutes in. But I know many of you can relate. I use these biblical references because they're real. And we get to see how God moves through them. Many of us are dealing with the same kind of stuff, just in different ways. And I hope to come with solutions and scenarios that you can pull from to help you find leverage in your own life in dealing with these same types of scenarios. You love more than you'll ever know. I'll never stop telling you. Be good to yourselves and be good to one another. Peace and love.